Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie. Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.
Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everybody doing? It's a fine Tuesday, Shrove Tuesday, and the minute I decided to go AFK for pancakes and cook them for my wife, my daughter, and myself, which was here at 4:30, the market just decided that Uno reverse. So we've actually got some decent price action to talk about, which is nice. But how's everyone doing? Are we all winning? Good evening, good evening. Nice to see you, SC. Big slopper, good day, lovely weather. It has actually been beautiful. We've walked the dog, we've done everything. We've actually been outside the house today. It's a real privilege for a Brit to be outside. I actually thought I might need a bit of Factor 50 sun cream today because it was nice and blue skies, which is something we've not seen in the sunny shores of England for weeks and weeks. Yeah, so I did literally create a bottom by going AFK, but I am rather frivolously still in my shorts, so, and I'm not talking about my clothing, but we'll explain the rationale and the reasoning behind it all in a bit. Still down bad, but not giving up. Good, good, good. Good evening to you and your family. Thank you very much, Sirsan. I will butcher your name. My apologies. Probably said that wrong. Bid but not enough. Let's try for another strategy reverse. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, and I'll kind of talk you through my view of the market. But first off, let's give a shout out to the sponsors of the stream, so Destra Network, which, again, desync, love to see it, very high beta, running hard from the lows, actually ran pretty hard from the lows back here, with everything, with the old Trump pump and dump. Again, I still think the same thought process of anything that's like in a former like accumulation range like this, and then bounces out of it. That's a good long. So I'm not saying like jump in and buy a bag here necessarily. But anything that shows strength in terms of breakouts, breaking of downtrends, breakout of former ranges, etc., that's when you want to kind of jump in on these kind of opportunities, in my opinion. Again, not financial advice, yada, 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 but I've got a big bag of Destra or Desync, and I'm hoping it does something like this in front of us. Again, this would be the kind of entry and the thought process for entering in a fresh position. And I think the market's about to tell us the kind of next move. So you would have seen in the initial Bitcoin chart that I loaded up my kind of short-term thought process, but we will jump into, I don't know why this has taken a while. My indicator's a bit slow today, kind of like me after a couple of ciders, but we will digress from that. How's everyone feeling? Let's get a bit of a sentiment check in the chat. Is everyone bullish, bearish, somewhere in between? Kind of don't know. Rangy vibes. What's the general consensus in the chat? Is it over? Are we going to zero? You can have a different answer for Bitcoin and altcoins if you like. Neutral, bullish. Good evening, Ultimate. Good morning, Charlie, mate. Good morning, Jenny. Hello, Andy Reid. I'm still down bad, but not giving up. You send link to the spaghetti? Of course I can. Everyone like the video? Cheers, I see he's getting the boys to like it already. Let's go. Bosh. There you go, there's link to spaghetti while you're all saying your views. One more low, hopeful. Drunk bear, bull with a flu. Desync's only mid-cap on mine, but it's doing well. Yeah, it's holding up pretty well. That's the thing with like a lot of these like mid-cap projects as well. Zig's another one that's holding up pretty well in terms of when you compare it to the rest of the market, right? The entire market's pretty fucked, let's be honest. But like Zig has been holding this range for some time. And again, I'm not saying like buy range lows. Like personally, what I like to buy in general is confirmation of change in trend direction. So, you know, breaks a diagonal, accumulation ranges, like, you know, some actual accumulation like in here, and actual, you know, breaking of trend lines and shift in high time frame market structures. So show me some strength. You know, I'm not ballsy. I'm not buying like, it's a pretty clear demarcation of the range, right? It's pretty clear, and it's bounced every single time it's hit this kind of 0.82 level. But I like shifts in structure and changes. And if it's after a bit of consolidation, you know, absolutely fine. So just kind of putting out there that some mid-caps have been reasonably resilient. But the one altcoin that is absolutely smashing it at the moment, to my physical disgust, is ADA. Which is beyond belief, really. Yes. Okay, so links spaghetti. Yeah, there you go, mate. So neutral, bearish, nice. Bullish, but you don't know. Waiting for deeper pullback to gig along, nice. Out of interest, mate, where would you gig along? Where are you going to gig along, Bernard Emroth? ETH BTC? Yeah. DeFi Summer 2.0 coming. It's really difficult for me personally because my actual bias is bearish, right? I'll just kind of I'll talk you through my thought process of it all. Essentially, this is what I drew up on Monday's Outlook for the group, and you know, this run up over the weekend, which I completely like round trip my shorts on. You know, I didn't have a stops and take profit on any of it. I just bought a little bit of spot Bitcoin around 81, I think it was. So I bought a bit of spot there. I sold it kind of up here somewhere, all on my phone, so it's not like a, you know, major clout thing or anything like that. And then that was it. But I held my shorts through all of this. Felt pretty smug about it this morning, and now obviously we're getting a bit of a pumpy back to the highs. But the reason that I'm kind of high time frame on the air of caution is if I think about the market from the perspective of like the 3-day chart, and I look at this and I just delete everything, you know, to me, this is a very simple range that has broken down, retested, and failed. And it's as simple as that. We have established value, and we have broken down from it. We have retested that value, and that's kind of it. Like, for me, with everything else that's going on, there was actually a really good tweet that summed it up in terms of, I think, deregulation of the crypto market will actually be its own demise, because it just essentially makes insider trading and scamming legal, and people will see this industry akin to the whole Nigerian prince kind of has left you an ungodly estate if you just send me $10,000, that kind of thing. So I'm a little bit sort of on the air of caution. And obviously altcoins in general, there's a few exceptions, but in general altcoins have got absolutely smashed. So if you kind of go out on spaghetti to a higher time frame, and you look at back to like the 21st of January or whatever, this is the 19th, there's been like literal like a handful of outperformers, and some of them are like barely even moving. That's why they're outperformers. If Bitcoin's down 16%, most alts are down, like on average, I'd say that's around 50, maybe 45%, right? That's where the majority of them lie. There's a few outperformers in terms of shitting the bed, like Fartcoin, pun 100% intended. But yeah, it's not a pretty picture out there for the dilution of altcoins. That said, there's a few outperformers, and there's always going to be. There's a few decent ones, and we'll come on to a couple of them, especially like XRP. I did start the week being bullish on ADA, which was a mistake, and I was also started the week bullish on Solana, which again was a mistake. So I didn't take the ADA trade because it didn't set up that way, but I did take the Solana trade, and then ended up giving not a fair bit, but I kind of didn't stop it. Where was it? I didn't manage to stop it like. I didn't get stopped down here. I managed to stop it like here-ish when we lost, was it like 91k on Bitcoin? But yeah, I was thinking that we would have in general, this is what I was talking about to start the stream with, strong downtrending altcoin, major breakout of some pivotal high time frame levels. If we held that level there, and let me just zoom out even more, this consolidation here, these highs, etc., that was, in my opinion, a really good place to take some risk on, because the thought process would be that, with Trump and the strategic Bitcoin reserve and everything else like that, that would be a decent start of a trend reversal. It was not. I was wrong, and welcome to trading. That is part of the game, but I lost a small amount, and, I lived to fight another day. And that's always the thing when people say to me, oh, I went 10x leverage because I thought this is the one. I never think this is the one. This is the one trade, right? This is the one trade that's going to make it for me. I'm going to make $10 million out of this one trade and be retired. Bosh, job done. No, never. Maybe that's my risk appetite. Maybe that's my kind of thought process. But yeah, I've got no sympathy for people who over-risk, to be blunt. Anyway, let's when BERT ETF, mate. Soon, hopefully. BERT's been one of those, again, real high beta coins that's just done this and then done that. But we can peep at that chart in a sec. My thought process on Solana was that it's now obviously come back into the lows. It's consolidating until it breaks out of this range or something of that kind of ilk. There's just no point in trying to look for it. There are much better coins out there right now in terms of beta and in terms of what's going on. Obviously, TradFi is running back turbo. ETH in and of itself is running pretty hard. ETH BTC is still shitting the bed. I am just... ETH BTC is the eternal cuck of the market. I don't really understand how people get so bullish over ETH all the time when it's just like literally the most suicidal looking chart in the entire crypto sphere. Like, we should be calling we should basically imprint the Samaritans number on this chart, I think, for people who are trying to long it. ADA, on the other hand, is just absolutely flying. ADA and Aave, which I've probably butchered. But yeah, let's kind of talk about BTC here. So, because this is going to dictate all of like my views and my thought process. For me, this like 91 level is that key pivot to just being like high time frame bullish, like reclaim this range, reclaim this area of value. I would much rather long it here, like this, and do something like this, depending on local price action, right? So depending on how we enter that. So if we did something like this, lovely reclaim, consolidate a little bit, that would be a really nice long. If we like instantly start rejecting that and we don't even get anywhere close, then I'm not interested in playing that, right? Because it would suggest that, you know, if we are wicking on a low time frame into that area, that people are front running the selling and they're just aggressive selling at those levels. And then we get the trend continuation of this, you know, market structure essentially, which is, you know, downtrending, and that's it. You know, Wickofian schematic, whatever you want, however you want to phrase it. Like, to me, that's just continuation. How low it goes, who knows? But that is the local trend. You know, it's maximum EMAs on this, and you know they are going to be pointing down. Have we got anything on well, bullish on at the lows, to be fair, but no sell signals. Perfect. What else we got? Let's get rid of that. Let's get the old Trader XO macros trend scanner. And, you know, you're looking at EMAs just pointing down and just kind of reinforcing that short-term bias for me that says the market is pretty weak, with altcoins doing the same, although they're starting to come back a little bit now, and we're starting to see some acceleration in terms of the higher beta and the strength. So, yeah, unfortunately, I missed this rotation, which was obviously you sit here for 8 hours and then you get fuck all, and then you go AFK for 2 hours, and it just runs. But yeah, I think for me, I've missed this trade in terms of this breakout, which is really nice. If you're in it, great, you know, congratulations. But I'm gonna maintain a bearish bias until we lose that, reclaim that kind of 91-ish level. Now, do I want to be bullish crypto? Absolutely. Am I bullish crypto long term? Absolutely. Do I think we flip gold? Absolutely. Like, I think all those things. But does that mean I want to be risk on at this point? Absolutely not. So that's just me. That's my thought process. That's why I get to that conclusion. And bearing in mind, I've been pretty risk off the last few weeks, if not a couple of months, which has made for really boring streams in a sense, right? Because a lot of this period I've been kind of cheap hooker strategy in and out. And I keep saying, using the Pepe chart as the example, that you know we are really playing for these small windows of like massive, you know, outlandish opportunities in terms of risk on, right? And I will never buy here, but I will quite likely buy either here or here as we start breaking out, as we start showing that strength. And so, you know, the amount of the move that I can take is usually pretty damn good because I can identify it as really strong quite early on. But it means I don't get chopped up in these periods of dog shit. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought process. I mean, I want to be turbo bullish, and the one thing that we haven't really done is, like, despite all of the shit that's dropped into the market, we've not, you know, turbo nuked necessarily. We fully retraced this candle, which is a bit shit. But, you know, do I want to get majorly bearish here? If I wasn't in a short from like 105k, I would probably be looking at this level in terms of, you know, where would be a reasonable place to kind of assess, you know, a continuation bias down. You know, pull it, push it up, consolidate, maybe wick above the highs, start burning short there. If we start losing the lows, add there, average entry there, and just play that continuation trade. Is it the exact opposite of what I would do if we were in, you know, bullish conditions? You know, sell off into consolidation, start breaking out, start longing it, play the game, and just follow the trend. And the trend currently is down. So, you know, doesn't matter what you think in terms of, you know, your view of the future of crypto and all that kind of stuff. You start looking at like these EMAs, they are pointing it down and to the right, right? It's hard for me to be super bullish when we're in a situation where, you know, daily EMAs are just pointing down. We've lost a range, we've lost a big consolidation, and risk on in terms of alt rotations has been, up until literally this point, pretty shit. So any questions on that? I don't want to be super negative, but equally I'm not going to sit here and be like, OMG boys, I'm a mega bullish to the moon, go buy Bitcoin before it's $1 million. I still think it'll hit $1 million, but they are my plans and thought process. And I genuinely think that you will be better buying in these kind of levels, 91 or 95, with a much higher expectancy of them playing out than trying to play this, unless you were in this move down here, because that was nice. What will it take for things to get bullish midterm? So I think for me, the real thing that will make everything flip, right, is if the US announce some sort of major strategic buying program. I kind of doubt they will, and I think what they actually want to do is just legalize the transfer of the stolen assets that they are now custodians of into their possession, and say that that is now a asset of the federal government or whatever. But I don't know too much about that shit. I'm just speculating and guessing and trying to manage my own hopium, because it'll be a great news trade. If you're a news trader, it'll be absolutely incredible if you catch that. Just like the stuff on Sunday was, right? Like, I completely missed that, like I said, because I was Sunday. It's AFK, but yeah, I think the White House Summit might just be a nothing burger. Yeah, so probably get a lot of people longing into White House Summit, and then there's no news, and then it'll just be instant unwind of that, and it'll probably go much further than that as well, right? Because we are in a weak market. We are seeing, pretty piss poor strength generally. We've had a reasonably weak SPX for the last S&P for the last few days. Again, like, even the dollar has died, and so have TradFi markets. So it's a bit of a weird one. Feels like risk is kind of coming off the table, and one of the big proxies for that for crypto is I haven't got any music on today. That's all right. Do you guys mind it just being my dulcet tones, or do you want some music? So, we talked about this before, and we've talked about this several times. There's the total US dollar market cap, so USDT, USDC, BUSD, etc. It's all of it, and we've got an ICMA kind of giving us that bias, and we are starting to see it. One, it's waning off a little bit. From an RSI perspective, it's starting to get like a div across the highs. You're also getting this divergence in momentum across the awesome oscillator. And whilst this isn't necessarily a TA respecting chart, it does tell you something really clean, which is momentum is dwindling on this chart, which means that less chips are entering the casino. That's all it's telling you. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's super bearish or you should sell all your stuff now. It just means that there is a slowdown of new capital entering the space. And if this starts reversing, that's kind of when I think, okay, well, I think we all know what happened during this period, right? That's pretty much peak bear market territory. And if this starts pointing down and we start rejecting here and we start moving down like this little illustration shows, then, it will be a bear market, essentially. Or it is very likely to be a bear market, I should say, because the stablecoin market cap doesn't necessarily mean shit about how it's deployed and blah, blah, blah. But there's a good correlation. So, no music, okay. Music is, without music is great. With fine, without fine, great. Good evening, Charlie. Good evening, Stefano. So yes, there's a lot. There's kind of a lot to consider. And it's kind of always like this pivotal point. But I think if we get the simple, like, Bitcoin reclaim 91k, show a bit of relative strength on altcoins. I think that humans are perpetually greedy. I think this will just carry on trending up and to the right. Like, the bullish factors kind of outweigh the bearish in terms of not necessarily macro, but just events and scale, and the fact that the US president kind of wants to make it a crypto hub, and there's all this stuff going on, just getting a crypto awareness. And really, in that way, it's hard to be bearish, right? Which is why I'm kind of saying I don't want to be bearish, but I don't want to be cautious. And if we start seeing the better strength in rotations, as in, let's kind of see what's going on now. As in a bit more risk on alts, like, again, we've got like Zig, we've got ADA, we've got Farcoin, we've got BERT, we've got Desync. So yeah, two of my biggest bags, these two, absolutely ripping, which is great, even though they're down, like, BERT in particular is down obviously quite a lot from where I've been buying it. So, I'm not trying to claim clout for it or anything like that, but it's just a promising sign that there is some strength left in the old dog yet. Like, yeah, this is much better in terms of distribution on this rotation. Like only a few things that are worse, like LRC, TRX, which never fucking moves anyway, Mask, and a few other bits of shit. Yeah, spot buy might be the best. Trump started a trade war last time as well, right? Yeah. So there's trade wars, there's tariffs. So if Trump takes all the tariffs off, then and just says, let's just stop with all this bullshit, like markets will just fly. They will absolutely fly. Absolutely fly. So, I'm not holding on to a bias like some angry teenager that will just reject reality. What I'm trying to do is say, here's where I'm going to be bullish, here's where I'm going to be bearish, and literally just keep things simple. Like, if I look at this as a high time frame chart, I ignore all the noise of all the oscillators and everything else like that. I just draw one magic line at like 92, 91-ish, and I go, where do I want to rebuy all my spot BTC? If we kind of close above this, if we get some kind of high time frame close up here, then great. This was a deviation. This was just Trump fuckery. It'll all be so obvious in hindsight anyway, whatever happens. But then great, right? I've got a trade that looks something like this for continuation around whatever pivot point I want. And we're just going to say we're going to go to all-time highs, right? We're going to go up here somewhere and we're going to carry on. That's it. And high time frame, big trend continuation, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But to me, the consolidation up here, the sell-off here, it looks more like this, which is the end of the previous first run, and then maybe we get a bit of a dead cat like this, right, and a kind of second attempt at it. But either way, it's pretty fucking brutal, this sell-off. I would rather be risk off until the market tells me I can change, and that's it. Simples. What's up, PI coin hit like 10 bull market cap? Oh yeah, that was some kind of you could mine it on your phone, wasn't it? We can have a look at it. I mean, it's not really much to kind of TA. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you are looking at this from a very basic market structure perspective, so we said, right, Charlie, you've got to trade this. You've got to trade this. You've got to trade it profitably. Otherwise, you get shot in the head. I'm like, all right, cool. So what have we got? We've got a downtrend. We've got a consolidation across here, and literally all I would be doing is looking for essentially a breakout trade here. So looking for something like this. And ideally, I'd probably be longing it a little bit higher. Ideally on some form of relative strength. So I'd be adding it straight to spaghetti and going, what are we calling it? Pi USD. Bosh. Seeing if there is any strength. And I can't really see any. I can't even see it on here. I'm not even sure if I did actually add it. I assume I did. And I assume it's in here. Oh, there it is. So it's not really anything to get excited about, is it? In terms of like low time frame rotation. But I would be looking at it from the, okay, it's fucking dog shit. Like, look at it. Entire market is run, and this scam piece of shit is down here. Now, what you'll probably find is that when the market chills out and when things slow down a little bit, the coin Pi will probably do one of two things. It will either stay in line with everything else, or it might start running by itself. In that scenario, you've got a setup, you know where your invalidation is, you jump in, and you play just a rotation on it. It'll probably be quite a nice rotation because it's some scammy piece of bullshit. Does that make sense? Like that's how I play these types of coins. Particularly when you've got like huge downtrends into consolidation, into hopeful move up. Because the market tends to work like this, right? So let me just do simple schematic. Range consolidate, mark up, distribution, mark down. Range consolidate, mark up, distribution, mark down, etc., etc., etc. And depending on what state of the market is, that is an uptrend. Vice versa, you would go like this: consolidate, mark down, and you would do the kind of opposite of that, right? And you would go consolidate, mark down, whatever. Maybe not that brutal, but you kind of get the point. Is that like that process is pretty common. And there's like an S1, S2, S3, S4 kind of model. It's just, you know, how far does that go? Like that. Or, right? Downtrend. You're bad, thanks, sir. No, it's not your bad, mate. It's you know, these coins can be really good to trade. Generally, any new coins with an evil market maker can be an absolute you know, gold mine. Especially when you catch something like this, you know, really clear resistance, so clear selling into this 1.76-ish level. Like it's been capping price for some time. If you can get a bit of relative strength on it, and it can just blow stuff out of the water, and you catch a really nice move on it, maybe even up to like these highs, right? Your RR on that trade, if it actually pulls itself off, it's great, like really good. And if you've got the confluence of relative strength, and you know it's on here and it's not down here in this shitter, then you know, it becomes quite a simple thought process and a really easy to execute trade. Really easy to execute, in my opinion, right? Hello, so can you do ETC? Yes, Alexandros, a man after my own heart. Assuming you're male, of course. Apologies if you're not. Or VANRY, yes, of course. We can jump to both of those. So Ethereum Classic is the real Ethereum. For those of you who don't know, it's an old shitcoin, but it's a great one. I kept saying that if you make me hold ETH or ETC, I would rather hold ETC purely because when it goes, and it runs very, very heavily. I was actually looking for, and you can see this thought process. If I zoom out, right, from a weekly perspective on ETC, like for me, there's this real clear demarcation at this like 17.2-ish level, right? Because it's like resistance, support, etc., right? It just plays through the entirety of its history, and it's really, really clean. Did I buy any down here? No, I did not. But if we kind of break out and start pushing, and we get some ETH BTC strength, you can bet your bottom dollar that I will be longing the shit out of Ethereum Classic over any form of ETH, you know, for something like this, right? I'm not saying this exactly. I'll probably actually push the stop up a bit, depending on the price action of how it goes into this area. So if it's very, let me explain that. If it's a slow grind, I will take a wider stop, right? Because it doesn't have the strength behind it necessarily, and I would expect that maybe it's just kind of a bit, you know, needs a bit of room to breathe. If it's got a lot of strength and ETH BTC is strong, then I will take a much tighter stop and just assume that that kind of trend continues, which makes my risk reward much better, right? But I'm playing into strength, so I can take a sort of smaller stop in terms of how wide it is. I can take a tighter stop. That's the complicated word I was looking for, because part of my trade thesis now is that the strength continues because there is strength, right? So that factors into my thinking a lot, which is why, you know, I'm always on spaghetti. Always. So yeah, I'm looking for something around the 20k. Sheesh. Yeah, 20k on Bitcoin. Imagine that. I would buy so much, it would be untrue. But anyway, I'm looking for something around the $20 mark if we get that high, and if the market conditions allow for it, right? Main resistance 39.60 something. Well, we'll just put a line up there somewhere. Yeah, it's pretty clean, right? In terms of like, this was previous support, boom, resistance. Yeah, it's very clean. Like, I did that without even sort of thinking about it, and that is, yeah, that's really nice trade in my opinion. Can we reach the mark of 600 this year with 88 billion market cap? Well, for Ethereum Classic, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure what the catalyst is. VANRY, I'll talk about this because this looks absolutely fucking awful. You know, we have literally sold off to the hilt. This is unfortunately one of my bags that has not held up well. It has basically died off these lows. The only saving grace at this point in time is this across the lows, which is this divergence. So I would hope that this plays out. So divergences, for those who don't know, are kind of when price is doing one thing, so it's making a series of lower lows, and momentum is doing another thing, it's making a series of higher lows, right? It is going up. It's telling you that that momentum is slowing down, and therefore you can kind of expect that this would be a good place to take some risk on to look for a counter trend opportunity. Now, you are facing into a big, strong downtrend, but as you can see, this is a very sharp decline. This is a less sharp decline, and then this is a less sharp decline again, which means that you are probably closer to a bottom than a top, right? I'm not saying it's going to do the big booty pan or anything like that, but that's divergences in a nutshell, and that's kind of how I use them. I also use them in line with price actions, so in particular, looking at essentially range reclaims. Now, I'd like it to be a little bit cleaner than this, but go with me here, right? It's just an illustration. We're looking at this as it's not a particularly clean range or anything like that. Like that would probably be nicer in terms of this price action, but then it's not great in terms of how far away it is from this level. So trying to structure a trade, do I want it to move 18% before I can think about longing it? Not really. Those of you who have got keen eyes would have noticed that there was kind of an RSI div across these lows. So again, looking for them again, there they are. It's a bit janky, this one, because it's over quite a few periods, but also it's kind of played out a little bit and it's not been particularly strong. But that's divergences actually, and that's high time frame divergences into low time frame divergences, which is a lot of how I try to think about the market. What is it that I'm longing? I'm longing something that's in a really strong downtrend. Is there any form of signal that this downtrend could be stopping? And divergences tend to be that signal that I look for, or relative strength, so on spaghetti. Not that it's there for this at the moment, but hopefully you get me. But yes, this is not a coin that has done particularly well on this drop, but que sera. Divergence. VANRY made a good partnership with WorldPay, and I thought I would pump it a bit. I think that's a big kind of assumption and a real read on the market, right? Good news in good markets makes your coin do this. Good news in bad markets makes your coin do this, right? There's just no real impact. Like in these conditions where everyone's hyped and frenzied into trying to buy everything, it doesn't matter what you say. If it's vaguely bullish, people will just build that confidence. In these conditions, no one really gives a fuck and everything's going down. So they could partner with fucking Microsoft tomorrow and it would just do this and probably get sold into, right? Same with pretty much any project. Bitcoin on the weekly Stoch RSI seems like it's near the bottom or next. Yeah, okay. So I'll talk about Stoch RSI, but just I want you to know that I'm not 100% confident in it because it's not something that I use consistently, and it's on my chart, but I'm using it as trying to get my head around it. So I've used Awesome Oscillator and RSI, the standard RSI or the Paragon one anyway, for years now. So I understand it. I understand like what they're going to print. I could probably just trade a price action chart without it, to be honest, and just guess what it's going to do. But Stoch RSI, I'm not at that level, nowhere near it. And I'm not quite sure how, like, if I take this chart as an example, if we delete all of this, like you said, this is showing it's pretty much bottomed in terms of Stoch RSI. We've got the standard RSI at the 50 level, which is usually the point where we decide if we're going to continue being bullish, i.e. above the 50, or bearish below the 50. So that's kind of like decision point / ranging environment, which we know we're not ranging because we've broken down from the range. So it's really like this creates a bit of a contradictory picture for me, which is we've broken down from a big range. We are potentially at a decision point in terms of bull or bear, which doesn't really make sense because we've broken down, and this is kind of saying that the low is in, and that we shouldn't really get much lower than this, because every other time that we've gone to the lows on stock, it's kind of here. This isn't really the low, but we'll treat it. We'll look at like here, like that was the low. Here, that was the low. Here, that was the low, right? So every time we've had like low-ish Stoch RSI on the weekly, it has been pretty confluent as a bottom signal. Yeah. So just back testing these things very, very quickly. It's been good. Like, yes, that was not the actual Pico bottom, but you had a nice rally from it, so on and so forth. Yeah. And same back here. So it is pretty good as a high time frame indicator of if there's hopefully some bullish momentum coming. But yeah, I just haven't got that comfortable with it yet. It might mean that we go down a bit further, we range a little bit, and then we come back up, right? So again, I'm just explaining to you how I'm trying to interpret it because I'm not an expert with this particular indicator. So I don't want to try and sell it to you like I am an expert with Stoch RSI, because I'm not. If you want someone who's incredible with Stoch RSI, go watch Trader XO streams, because he's very, very good with it. And he's part of the reason that I'm trying to incorporate into my system and just use this time to kind of build up a little bit more, not necessarily knowledge, but just a little bit more confluence and try and incorporate other elements into my trading system, because for me, now's the time to do it when I'm a little bit more risk off. I've taken less trades in 2025 than I probably have in a single day in November or October 2024. So just to give you the kind of insights, the amount I'm trading, it's far less, far less. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. Everyone kind of has to work out their own regime. For me personally, it's actually been really nice, really refreshing. I've got a lot of stuff to build. I'm moving all my educational content in the Paragon group to WOP. So that's taking some time. It's a bit of admin, a bit tedious, but it'll make things really good. So you can just replay things at your own speed. You can check where you are in kind of the course and pick up where you left off in terms of videos and all that kind of stuff, which is great. It's a really, really good thing that WOP have actually built and done. And if you are struggling with just certain concepts, you can just skip to that, like psychology or journaling or something. So there was a question in journaling, so we'll come back to that actually. There was a question about journaling. Where was that? Did I make that up? Thoughts about the crypto summit? Possibly a nothing burger. I don't have any like major insight to that. Do you know what I mean? Which indicator gives you the most success? Price. Price gives me the most success, Andy. If I didn't answer that, price is the best indicator. Can you talk about trade journaling? How to properly do it? Maybe show us an example if possible. I'm not going to show you an example. I've got an old journaling template in the Paragon group if you want to look at that. The reality of it is that I'm far lazier these days than I should be, because I've done a lot of trading and journaling, and in 2018-19 I was so autistic about it, and I kind of ended up, I think there's a learning curve with journaling. And I think that as long as you are journaling to some extent, so using just a simple API key and something that tracks your trades, like CoinMarketMan or something like that, as long as you're doing something like that and you are recording the logic for the trades that you take, unless they are like literally scalps and rotational trades, which you can do it after, right? So I can go and take the trade and I can do it and I go, right, I'm in position now. Okay, so what is it I saw? I saw the reclaim, I saw this, I saw the relative strength, I saw whatever, just literally hit save, go download image, job done, right? Doesn't matter, you don't have to do it before you enter it, right? That's a like massive misnomer unless you are like really retarded, not disciplined in any way, shape or form, because if you spend half an hour writing out your fucking trade thesis, the trade's probably gone. At least the way I trade, it's almost certainly gone, like if I'm playing reactionary low time frame spaghetti. But I think the journey looks something like this, right? Everyone starts off thinking they're fucking god, win a few trades, P&L balance goes up, lovely, and then you lose it and you get fucked and you go, brilliant, this whole trading thing's shit. And then you come back to it and you go, okay, right, I'm going to take this seriously now. You start journaling a couple of trades. you take a few trades, you go, this is a bit tough, like my P&L's not really moving. I'm going to up the leverage, I'm going to do this, I'm going to trade this, I'm going to do that. Eventually you start doing this, and then you just do that and you wipe it out, right? Not necessarily like your whole account, but you just give back gains. And you start realizing the stupid shit that you do. And if you are journaling at this point and you are journaling things well, you start realizing what triggers that stupid shit. For me, it was tiredness. As an example, tiredness really killed me. And trading on my phone, like they were always. If I had a trade that did this to like a few days P&L, because I've never been like liquidated, like I've never blown up an account because I'm a massive pussy. I used to be an accountant, yada yada yada. Right? It's not I'm not bragging about it. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a brag. I actually think I'm too risk averse. I'm too heavy on the risk management. So sometimes, when I should be making, X amount up here, I actually end up making Y amount down here, but my losses are much, much smaller, right? So yeah, that's just a me personal thing. But when you're realizing these triggers, when you're off the back of a 3-win streak, and then your fourth trade's a fucking absolute nightmare, consider lowering your size, or before entering a trade, ask yourself, are you feeling invincible? Are you feeling euphoric? Do you think you're going to lose this trade? And if the answer is I don't know, I am pretty sure that the probabilities are in my favor for these reasons, then that's a rational argument. If it's of course I'm going to win it because I'm a fucking genius, then maybe you need to think about not taking it. But the process of reviewing your journal and what you're recording is just as important as actually having a journal itself, right? Plenty of people journal their trades and get fuck all from it, and they don't do the review process well. So that's a kind of quicker answer to that question. Do I use volume profiles? No, I don't. Not normally, but I do chuck them on occasion, even if it's just to help with like drawing out ranges, understanding where the kind of point of control is. And really, I don't like, and I've said this on several streams, and SC taught me this in an interview that I did with him maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was actually the first interview that we did in the Paragon group, because we've had a load of Chad traders in there that I've had the privilege and pleasure of interviewing. And I think his was actually one of the first. And, he's just like, don't diddle in the middle. Like, why are you taking a fight at the biggest point where everyone else is unsure of what price should be? So we just get this like consolidation, and we just get this kind of agreement of value, and we get this, there's a complete lack of movement. So why are you diddling in the middle of ranges when it's actually far easier to trade at extremes or trade on breakouts or reclaims? Like that to me kind of changed everything, because like the amount, when I went back and looked over, the amount of stupid trades I'd taken in the middle of ranges was unreal. Just by cutting that out and taking out a huge part of like boredom trades, essentially, I think this is going to break up. Great. So I longed it here. Why? It's fucking ranging and boring price action, right? Whereas it's sold off and now it's reclaimed, this little range here, and now I'm longing it like this. Oh look, I've suddenly got a much better fucking trade, because the market has said I want to go down. Nope, that's not happening. We're all bidding it. Reclaim this little mini range. So not the fact that it's like in the middle of the range, but you hopefully get my point. Like that's completely different. So yeah. So it's useful and it's a confluence point for me, but I don't use it day in, day out. No. Got some templates for my trading journal, I just copy paste them. Most helpful entry that I use often says I lost it all today. Fuck it up. No, it doesn't. The journals full of Dante's Demon Finders. That's really good. Really, really good. Yeah. Dante's Demon Finder is a really good framework. But I think a lot of like trading mistakes or habits, I suppose, are kind of personal, and a lot of people struggle with different things. So I know people who are complete opposite of me. They struggle with taking on too much risk. They just want to be in everything. They can't rationalize down to 5 positions or want to compound gains. And in my experience, those people have got richer faster than me and poorer faster than me. So they've blown up accounts, they've fucked things over several times. But everyone has their own different Achilles heels, whether it's FOMO, whether it's oh my god, what's all this shit? These fucking idiots. I need to mod some people. Fuck you. Right, how do I ban these idiots? Well, at least the stream's so successful that I'm actually getting raided by idiots. Don't click any fucking links. If anyone wants to be a mod, shill Army Moon. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. What kind of fucking... Ugh. Famous. Yeah. I need some mods. Hyperliquid Army. We'll talk about Hyperliquid. I'm literally spending like... Fuck you. I don't know, man. What happened? All these people just... You know you made it when you get raided. Yeah, sorry about this. Who wants to mod for me? NPC to the moon. I can't tell if you're a troll, mate. Oh my god, I'm blind. I got botted. Yeah, that's it. I think that's the first time in however many years I've actually got botted. Please do not buy Moon Token or any other bullshit that retards are posting in my fucking chat. Shall I ban everyone that way? No one mods. Yeah. That's the best way. Happy days. Cheers, SC. I've just been banning those idiots. Not the actual people who are contributing, but the people who are saying, you know, come buy dog shit, Doge coming new 69, and click this link to drain your wallets and stuff. Cool. So now that's fended off. Apologies, everybody, for the minor delay. Yeah, like for me, next trade on Bitcoin, let's just jump back to that. He's up here. Like I see no real reason to try and participate right at this second, right now. Again, maybe continuation long at 86 if we kind of get that in terms of a breakout and then a consolidation and then another little run up. So a continuation play, but it's quite choppy and it's quite tough, to be honest. You should review Moon now. What just said it's going straight to zero. But there's so many coins that I thought looked so good. Again, like when I was looking at continuation plays on Bonk, I didn't actually end up taking this, but like this kind of consolidate, breakout. If you're there for the breakout, that's the trade, right? Not the continuation leg. Typically, like I'm almost always in this trade and not as much of a fan in that. But, you know, given the scheme of the fact that we are down, or in the scheme of things rather, we're down, 90 odd % from the highs, or 77, it felt like a pretty good place to be betting on some form of short-term reversal and relief across the market. Now, that was wrong. Again, there wasn't a trade there because actually the relative strength on Bonk was dog shit, but yeah. About Peanut and stuff like that. So I was looking at Peanut, was it yesterday maybe, or maybe it was earlier because it was actually running pretty well. Nero's been flying, which is good for SC because he's got a fat bag of that. Peanut again is one of those where it's actually had some really nice rotations, but it's so illiquid and shit that I just don't, and it's not really trading around many like key levels, right? It's quite janky in terms of price action, so unless you're playing it just from a pure spaghetti rotation, it's quite hard to find a trade on this, I think. Like, the only way that I can really justify any form of position on this is, trying to find like an SR flip like this and a high time frame pivot. But now, like, look at this price action. There's kind of nothing, unless we get something that is, a very simple like break of diagonal downtrend, reclaim of this pivot, this high time frame pivot. There's really not much for me to go after. Do you know what I mean? Like some charts I just can't make a trade out of because the price action is so just does what it wants. How much does mod pay? Oh. I think meant like the Ministry of Defense or something like that. I was like, what? Are there new proposals today? Yeah, I mean, the upside, and one of the things that I want to create for the group actually. So if there's any developers that could help out with this or anything and has experience in it, is a form of news trading kind of terminal. Because I think news is something that's kind of perpetually in demand, and I think there is space out there for a good news trading terminal that's at a reasonable fee. Because I think there's others out there that are quite expensive. They're good, but still, I think if it came as part of a cost of a group, and it was just a tool that you could use as well as like the indicators, the training, the videos, the streams, and all that kind of stuff, I think that would be really appealing to people, to be honest. So, like Bloomberg, no, it'd be a joint like execution window as well. So you could add people, you could add projects, you could add news feeds, you could add all sorts to it. That's kind of what I'm envisaging. So yeah, with Peanut, hopefully that answers your question, Market. Like, they are really good from a rotational perspective, but it's really difficult from a structural one. Really, really difficult for me anyway. Um, yeah, Abe's nice move, but again, you know, I can't really play it here. Charlie said P. Can you check NBC? Yeah, sure, man. NBC USD. Is there a decent? I don't know if this is going to be decent. It looks like most other memes. Oh, fuck me, that is a depressing chart, isn't it? That was a shit chart. But it's like a lot of coins, right? It's like a lot of meme coins. Like, it's just down only. Like, meme coins are a massive proxy of market risk, right? Because they have no intrinsic value. They are worth fuck all. They are just a good reflection of how risk on or off the market is. And this is telling you the market is risk off. You know, as soon as we start moving in the opposite direction, I'm sure this will make a lovely long, and it will make, you know, an absolute belter of a candle at some point. And bearing in mind, like, we look at these and we look at these candles and we think, fuck me, these candles are shit. But actually, you know, if you're zooming into them, like this candle, it's like 14%, right? It's pretty fucking good. And if you're taking it to the high, 45%. Like, I'm not saying buy it now. I'm just saying that we kind of forget that the volatility, even down in these regions, is absolutely wild. And obviously, if it does run again, you get the exponential benefit the lower you buy it for. And again, this isn't an NPC shill. I don't have a bag, but you know, look at the difference in terms of return. Um, it's kind of like, if you are bullish on crypto, and again, I'm using NPC as an example just because the chart is fucking horrific. If you are bullish on crypto overall and you think you can identify one or two coins, you know, not to go full Murad on you guys, but the cults, the active communities, a meme that you think will pass the kind of test of time. Now, NPC might be the one for you, it might not. Like I say, I don't even have a fucking bag of it, so I don't know why I'm staying on it, but I am. You know, you buy it, you forget about it. And if it's with $1,000, $500, $100, whatever, doesn't matter to you, right? And you come back in a year or two's time and your bet was right. It's now worth 2, 10, 50 grand, whatever. Happy days. Like, yeah. I see big dips in altcoins as, you know, at the moment I feel like I'd be firing in too early because there's a lot of people still here. Judging by one, the number of people on the stream, two, the participation of replies and comments, three, participation in the books, four, general optimism, etc., etc. You know, when we got the actual bear market bottom last time, there was like no volatility and everything just literally bled to death. And then like literally we just went like that and we just V reversed from the lows. I still remember it because I was saying like, why the fuck would anyone buy AVAX? And then it died like 30% or something, and then it literally just went boom the next day, as did everything else. But yeah, my point being that at some point I want to just buy the fear, and I want to be like, right, well, here's a good point of punting some coins that, you know, I can take an X amount of risk on and just set them aside for a year, 2 years, whatever the time might be. I think it's a bit early, but remember years ago when I got Repay, it was called Lend worth $80. I thought crypto was really cool. Yeah, it is. Can Ronaldinho coin still be shorted, or is it still, or is it done? I don't know, mate. I just replied to that Ronaldinho coin. I was like, fucking send it to zero. Like, where can I short it? I think I actually went to like $500 million. So if I shorted it, I would have been severely fucked. Is your question deleted? What was your question to him in this crypto? I obviously didn't see it. My apologies. You tweeted about shorting at zero. That's still possible. Yeah. So I replied to a comment and I didn't have any intention of actually shorting it to zero. I just what I meant was that I kind of hate these celebrities coming to the space and just launching some dogshit coin that's clearly bundled and they send to ridiculous market caps. So that was what I meant. Like, please just short it to zero. Could you take a look at Cookie? Yeah, I've got a bag of cookies somewhere actually. That ran pretty hard, didn't it? I'm not sure if it's still. Oh, yeah. So I had some back here, but then it absolutely ripped, and now it's kind of fucked. But again, like from a high time frame perspective, this is actually one of the kind of better looking charts because it's holding up this previous level. But again, like I don't necessarily want to buy in this range. I would much prefer buying something up here. And I know it's really stupid, yada yada yada, but I like trading momentum, and at the moment there's no momentum to trade. So yeah, if you're like a range low buyer, and you like just bundling into stuff, and you think that you're super bullish on the project, whatever, then by all means, like, sorry, buy lows and sell highs. Lovely, nice and easy, right? If only someone told me that before. But that's not how I don't just buy range lows arbitrarily. Yeah, the range low enjoyers. Like I will buy range lows if there's a deviation in a reclaim. Simple as that. You know, my thought process is this, right? Why buy this? Oh, sorry, I've drawn that fucking terribly. I'll do this. Why buy this when you don't really like? It's quite difficult at this point just to blind buy it because you don't know if it's going to do this, right? Same with this, like exactly the same thought process. So maybe I should have just drawn that once. Like, there's a load of stops here, so why aren't we taking them? For me, that's always like, okay, that's a nice trade, but there's no real reason to take that trade. Here, you've swept and absolutely annihilated anything under here. And if the demand is bullish here, you can start piling in there with the intention to flip short there, or add if you successfully reclaim it. So you've got the control here. You're basically playing for that momentum, either rejection or the flip. And that makes so much more sense because you've taken all the stops. You're running it back to a range. If it rejects here, then you just close it and or flip short. And if it holds here, you just add the position and you've got an entry underneath the range. So why would you not play that? Why would you not, like, instead of trying to guess here, you can enter early-ish here to preempt it with the kind of knowledge that actually you're either and then if it does start just dying, obviously you just flip off that low. But that's much easier in my mind. That works much better in terms of logic than just trying to buy the range lows. Because the market is showing its hand. There's demand here. There's demand in that rotation. Whereas here, that you don't know if there's going to be demand. Whereas here, you're joining a little bit of a trend. Or a little bit of strength. That's my thought process always. Especially if you've got like this, relative strength to go with it. Right, it's 8. And all I've really said is I don't really want a long Bitcoin here. I want to wait for a reclaim. So that's fine. Again, rejection off there, like that was a great short if you took it. which was like this. Oh, I've deleted it, haven't I? Brilliant. Well done, Charlie. I don't want to long or short this right now. Just no trade for me. No trade zone. Absolutely fine. Fine to be in a no trade zone. Stuff like Solana, I would love to long again, but we're just in this consolidation now. 0 point. This rotation, it's too late for me to do much with. Right? I missed it because I went and did Pancake Day. Did some lovely pancakes. We did some Nutella, some lemon and sugar, various other things. Oh, so sorry I'm late. Don't be silly, HT. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. Adder is one that you have to go where the strength lies, unfortunately. And I would like to long Adder. I'll explain to you guys the thought process that I had on Monday, which didn't come to fruition. I thought that we'd get a move kind of up. A move up and a bit of a breakout. Never came through. Instead of like holding up the range lows and going for it again, we just died, and that was it. But I was hoping for that kind of move up and breakout, but alas, we're now actually getting a bit of a. Let's have a look. It's kind of a bit shitty across these highs in terms of like a bit of momentum divergence, but we're at least in a range. Doing something. So maybe there's a similar trade here for a next leg on a Cardano, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So have a little perusal. Relative strength's pretty much died. Yeah, it's consolidating whilst the rest of the market kind of chills after that move. So I think we're a little bit late to this rotation. I would love to see some real strength return into memes, as I've said pretty much every single week, but it's just not there yet. But it's undeniable that Adder is pretty much the kind of, or one of the best altcoins in terms of both the last rotation, the one before this, and this rotation now. So generally strength leads to strength. Oh, XRP is the other one. So have it very, very high on your radar, in my opinion. Again, something like this, a strong sell-off into a reclaim, that ranging pattern that we talked about, that up to here, but get long, go for it, try and play that rotation, especially if there's relative strength. XRP is the only other one that I really wanted to cover. ETC we did cover, and again I'm going for like boomer coins, but XRP we did this in a stream a long time ago. Where is it? It's XVG. Well done, Charlie. Bear with me, caller. Your call is important to us. Yeah. Don't tell me I've deleted it. No, I didn't delete it. I was just being a boomer. So this stream to 589, which this trade to 589, which I'm genuinely devastated it didn't hit in the last kind of run up. Because it's such a meme trade, right? It's such a good trade in terms of the, like 50 cent or whatever it was. Okay, it was a bit higher than that. 70 cent average entry. But this high time frame consolidation, I will actually just go to this chart, and we'll look at it like this. Like this high time frame consolidation is actually pretty nuts. I didn't think I'd say this about XRP ever, but if you are looking at a high time frame range, ignoring the fact that if the price going into this looked like this, right, and you saw this consolidation, you saw this like deviation, and you saw this again, attempted breakout failed, you'd get pretty fucking bullish on this, right? Yes, we've had real strong price action into it, and then we've consolidated, but genuinely XRP looks pretty damn good, and I can't really ignore the fact that XRP BTC similarly looks like it just wants to break out again, right? So without sounding like a massive XRP bull, XRP looks pretty fucking incredible. Like if it can just start pushing out here on the BTC pair, I genuinely think this is kind of gearing up for a similar leg up to this. Do you have bacon and maple syrup on pancakes? No, I did not. Because I was cooking and I couldn't be asked to cook bacon. Is the short answer to that. But yeah, guys, this is the time where I'm really proud of you guys because a few people are coming in with some great questions around journaling, around indicators, what indicators work, what don't, what do you use this, use that. I've hopefully given my thought processes really clearly on them, why I use them, when I use them, how I use them to an extent, if I do use them, obviously. And yeah, now's the time to kind of pick that stuff up. I always say to people, like, people get bored when it's hard and then they want to come back when it's easy and they're so unprepared for it and then they just fall over themselves. And if you haven't played the game on hard mode, how do you know it's easy mode? Is what I always say to people. And we've got people who, for example, joined the Paragon group. I don't know, 3 months ago they were in it, or 4 months ago maybe. They were in it every day, sharing charts, loving it, loving life. And then as soon as the market got a bit difficult, they were just a bit like, well, this is shit. I'm just gonna be quiet and I'm gonna leave the market and do whatever. And it's like, for me personally, I was here the whole fucking 2018-19 bear market. I was here the whole 2022, 23 bear market. Like, I like these conditions because it gives you time to build, it gives you time to think about your processes, it gives you time to think about your information feeds. I'm looking at news feeds and stuff like that I want to build out and really add that kind of weapon to my arsenal personally, but also to the group. There's various other things that I want to do and build and kind of create, but this is like the time to do it. And everyone tries to tell you that trading's easy and trading's this, that, and the other, but it takes a lot of fucking time, right? It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of thought, it takes a lot of being wrong, learning from your mistakes, learning from other people who've made those mistakes to accelerate your own journey. And, all of that is, this is kind of when you got the time to do it. Like, 3 months ago, I couldn't find my ass from my elbow because I had just too much to do. I was trying to research this project, bridge to this chain, buy this coin, sell this coin, do this, move this, do that. And now I've got the time to do that. I've got the time to research and think. I've got, my thought process that the next the next kind of field for Bitcoin, sorry, for crypto, will be around robotics, and I'd like to find some projects that are kind of robotics heavy because I think that'll be the next narrative. Everyone is a master trader in an easy market. They are, but not everyone fucking keeps their money in those conditions. Watch for a few months, on and off, keep coming back. I'm not great, in fact, shit trader, but every stream I learn more. Thanks. But just trade like on paper. Go back test a strategy. Like, let's buy the bottom of a 12-hour RSI. Okay, well, so we're gonna buy here. Where's my stop? Well, it's gonna be, where's it gonna be? Use the replay tool. Just go back and test things, and don't do it like with cheat mode on. Right? Go back to here and play through it. Go back to here. Right? So what we're doing, we're buying the bottom of 12-hour RSI. So like anything where it's like this, right? Massively oversold. That's kind of our thought process, right? Let's go through here. Oh, yeah, we bopped in there. I was a bit slow. Okay, so we would have bought that. Where's our stop going to be? Well, we don't really have a good stop because there's kind of fuck all. We're just going to have to kind of do like a fixed X percentage stop. And we're going to go for just a range reclaim, right? We're not going to go for anything special. Bish, bash, bosh, it plays out. Maybe if I was a bit faster. This is kind of testing my ability, but we're waiting. Nothing's happened. Oh, here we go. All right, so we're going to buy that. Lovely. We're actually going to be a bit late and just buy the reversal because that's what we're going for. I've got no idea how this is going to play out, right? I'm just kind of saying to you that like this is literally what you can do. So we got fucked on that trade. Again, would have done one here if I wasn't slow, blah blah blah. But you can literally do it, and you can literally just trade like I just did in like real time with back-tested data, as long as you're not too familiar with it, right? And you don't go, oh, Sunday the 23rd of December. I know that we're going to get a 50% candle on this, so I'm going to go long. Again, this specific example of a trading system is pretty shit, right? 12-hour RSI is oversold, but you get the point. And all the Taurus spam tickers are gone. It's best time to be here. better access to experienced people like me. Well, you can ask me anything, mate. Like genuinely, if you actually DM me not asking for money, I will help. Generally, if I can, and if I see it, because I get too many of those other DMs, as you saw on the stream earlier. But yeah, trading should be taught with two simple concepts: only buy strength. Yeah, risk management is key to success. Cut losses and don't be a cunt. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, like when people say, there's a coin that's like this and consolidating, are you buying this? No, I'll buy this. I'll buy that. Every single time, because your capital's locked up here. It's not doing much. This has shown you strength, even if you end up taking the loss when it reclaims. The chances of it running from here are far, far greater than it running from here or here or here. Do you know what I mean? You asked for 5 Bitcoin before replying. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're worth it though. I only asked for one. That's all I asked for. Just one BTC. I've got some power. Yeah, I haven't got all of it, I'll be honest. But I've still got a little bit. I've still got quite a lot of. I've still got quite a lot of a lot, or sorry, a little of a lot. So like I've got some Psi, for example. I've got VANRY. I've got Sage. I've got a ton of Plutus, or Plu, which just seems to be trending to 0, because I get cash back on my spend. Oh, I've got to take it out of replay mode. But yeah, like the point I was trying to make is like these times are for sort of knuckling down and working out systems and working out where you want to buy, when you want to buy, and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, and I don't think that people really appreciate it until the time's gone. And once the time's gone and you're back in like ridiculous mode, and then you've kind of thrown all your risk management principles out the window, and you do the same thing that most dogshit people do every single cycle. Fine to do on your first cycle, absolutely fine, right? You get caught up in the euphoria, but you run a PNL up and then you fucking run it back down. And then you go, well, brilliant, I've just like sacrificed family, friends, my time, my health, the color of my hair is now fucking grey, for like literally nothing. A fuck all percentage return. Sent 5 to SE, he said he would send 10 back. Yeah, I mean, I'm sending him 5 right now, mate. VANRY did get a little bit broken. Are you familiar with the concept of late capitalism? It predicts hyper-financialization in the late stages of capitalism. I believe crypto plays a significant role in this. No, Daniel, but that sounds like I'm going to spend the next 3 hours of my life Googling it and ending up on various conspiracy theories on YouTube, and then going, holy shit, you're right. He did send it 10 back with XRP. Lovely. But yeah, genuinely, I'm looking for a sort of breakout play on XRP. Is the short of that chart as well. So something up and around here, especially if I see some low time frame relative strength. Good God, that's gonna really send me off. Not right now because it's a little bit late in terms of this rotation, but yeah, that'd be great. What else was it? If you want to join the Paragon group, I've set up a discount code, and I've not told any of the other analysts in it because, well, fuck it, why not? I control the bank and all that stuff, so they can just deal with it. I've got 10. I've got to find the actual code that I used because I'm a cunt, and if you use that code on checkout, you get 25% off, and there's only 10 of them. So I will do a shill of the street of the group, purely because I'm very proud of all the content that I've got in there, that Magus has got in there, that Doc has got in there. We've got everything I think people could actually want. And if there isn't everything in there that people want, then just ask and we will literally make it the same week, because we're all keen to produce content and make sure that we've got everything for people. I think it's great value, especially to the people who join for like a literal month, look at it and go, fuck me, there's loads of stuff, and just consume as much as they can. They will get the best value instead of trying to buy a $2,000 trading course that you can probably get 90 to 95% of that same stuff in there for much cheaper. But anyway, that's that. That's my subtle little shill. Well, it's not very subtle, is it? It's pretty in your face. But I have been chatting to you guys for the last hour and 20 minutes, and to be honest, the last 5 years, I think. Pretty much week in, week out. I don't think I've generally flaked in these streams. I try to be as honest as possible, and just give you my views and not just sugarcoat shit, because I don't think that suits anyone. For me personally, I do want to deploy massively back into crypto again, but just not right now. I think if we are at the precipice of a change in that USD market cap, really slowing down and momentum starting to slow and all this kind of stuff, then it's probably not going to look great for altcoins for the foreseeable. But I think if Bitcoin starts reclaiming that 91 area, and we do reclaim that range and actually hold it, unlike the Trump pump on the weekend, which I think largely has been kind of derailed because of equities, then then it's game on again, right? It's game on again if we do this. Absolute game on again, as we kind of talked about, like here and here, right? So I think there's a lot to play for. I think there's definitely a lot that can be done during this quote-unquote boring time. I'm rebuilding my spaghetti indicator as well, so that it's actually an indicator, as opposed to just this, just the kind of, what's it called? The default functionality of TradingView. Yeah. Alec House is winning Hoskinson and taking Myron again. We back. Oh my god. Please tell me that's not a real thing. Use code, I'm a cunt. Yeah, you can try, mate. When Doc collab? Yeah, I'd love to. Me and Doc and Magus. You guys answer this for me, right? And if you're not listening to this now, live, answer me in the comments, because it all helps me. Would you like to see or hear a weekly spaces from me, Magus, and Doc together, where we do a quick overview of our view on the markets and a kind of a quick Q&A with just anybody who wants to jump in and ask questions? The Paragon 3-way, yes, please. Yeah, the Paragon trifecta, because we all trade really different. But normally we all have quite similar biases, which is all. I always find it really weird. I always find it really weird. But I guess you kind of get into a flow state of probably CT in the market and how everyone sees things and all that kind of stuff. The Holy Trinity. Yeah. More like the Three Stooges, but yeah, I'll go with Holy Trinity. That sounds much better. On low time frames, is it better to short a weak crypto that's already downtrending, or better to short something that's pumping? That is a huge question. I prefer shorting obvious weakness, and obvious weakness is usually in the form of divergences, right? So it's one of two setups that I prefer the best. So one is you get a range, you kind of have that pop, you have that deviation. This move was a really expansive and hopefully a sort of parabolic move into essentially a range forming, and you get the deviation, and that's where you short in there. I ignore the fact that this isn't straight. It should be, right? It should be like that, but it's been a long night. So yeah, shorting like in here and adding it so your invalidation is there. That's number one. Number two is, and you've seen me do this 100 times, parabolic run into a lower high and then down to zero. Now, some of you who have been following me for a long time would remember that I did exactly that on this up here. So when we had this move, and I shorted here at like 72k, and I sat and chilled and they short 4 months while everyone else cried their eyes out, and then eventually had to cover it up here somewhere, and then I eventually went balls deep spot Bitcoin in here, and then I bought a few Bitcoin publicly up here, and we rode that up to 100k, and lovely jubbly. Like, that is my real strong run into a lower high. Just that weakness, that kind of show of weakness for me is lovely. So whether that's the strongest alt, the weakest alt, all that kind of stuff doesn't bother me too much. If it's the strongest alt, I'll cut it a little bit quicker. If it starts reversing, and it's reversing on relative strength, if it's a weak alt, I probably won't get too much volatility anyway out of it. But yeah, it's more about the setup on the short side than it is the specific coin. But like I said, if it is one of the stronger coins, then I'll be very quick to cut. So hopefully that answers your question. SC feeling left out, he is welcome on this stream. He is welcome in spaces. He is welcome anytime. I would love to have him on stream again. I would love to have him as an interview guest in the Paragon, whatever. I just know he's a very busy man, so I wouldn't want to intrude on his time. You know, he is one of the greatest traders on CT, and gets shit all the time for no reason. You know, bearing in mind he's been trading this for fucking years now. He used to live trade with hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, a time. What like 10 years ago or something? And that's like before crypto, before, you know, investing heavily in the crypto space and running it turbo. I mean, I think he did like an account that was like 10k to 1 million or something stupid. You know, everyone kind of forgets that. And then they're just like, oh, people are shilling memes. It's like, yeah, because they go 100x in a day like Bert did. Fucking wild. I've never seen anything like that. Never. That candle was just mental. But yes, hopefully we get some good times like that back again at some point. I just think at this point in the cycle, it's kind of naive to be thinking that everything's just going to V-reverse when there's, you know, this huge dilution of liquidity and risk generally isn't particularly wonderful. Traded when you're in third grade. Yeah, exactly. I think you got to respect the grind of some of these people as well, especially people who don't need to do it anymore. I think that's the other thing that I really respect is that you got a lot of people who are literally sat on 8 to 9 figures and yeah, don't need to trade but still do it for the love of the game, which is ironically why they got there in the first place. As Kobe says, why would you give up a game you love just because you got a high score? But anyway, I think I've covered everything. Thanks again to Destro Network for sponsoring the stream. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate all of your time, all of your questions, all of your comments, all of your queries. Hopefully my answers kind of help things. If you are interested in more education and stuff, then check out the Paragon group. There's that discount code earlier that I mentioned, which was, what was it? It was stream sale. So that's 25% off. And yeah, I will love you all and leave you all. And I will see you next week. Good night and happy Shrove Tuesday and Pancake Day. Au revoir.